This particular episode is special because it's the first time that I've caught up with one of my guests' exes. So if you haven't listened to episode 22, I strongly encourage you to go back to that episode, get a bit of context, and then jump into episode 23, where you can catch what happened from the other side of the coin.
Is that a breakup? I think we have a situation right here. On the Feeling Station.
Hello, hey, what's happening?
You're good.
I am doing very well, thank you very much. And how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
I've been waiting for this phone call for some time.
All right.
Yeah, I think
now is the time, I guess.
And now is the time. We sort of started talking about this almost about, a month ago, I think. But then I forgot to get back to you, and I apologize for that.
No problem at all. You called now, so it's okay.
Brilliant. So before we get too far, I'm recording this as a episode for The Feeling Station, which is a podcast that touches on breakup stories. And the reason why it has performed very well is because of two main things. One, we keep the people who are talking anonymous. So I'm going to give you a name in a couple of seconds.
All right.
And then more importantly, there are lessons for people to learn from your breakup experience.
Okay.
So I'm going to be asking you for that again in a couple of seconds.
All right.
Now, I know you haven't had a chance to listen to the podcast, but it's a very free podcast. You can talk about absolutely anything. Don't feel like you need to hold up. Just shoot and let people know everything from the bottom of your heart.
Perfect.
Right? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, I'm good with it.
Okay. So I'll start by the name that I'm giving you. So I've picked out a name, and the name that we're going to use for this episode to refer to you is Anesu.
All right. Anesu. No problem.
For those who don't understand, Shauna, that just means that God is with us.
Okay.
Now, the reason why this episode is very interesting is that we spoke to your ex, or rather, I spoke to your ex. And I'm sure you know.
I wonder what he had to say.
Oh, I think it's a good thing that you didn't get to hear what he said beforehand, because what you're going to say now is clean and pure, and you're not going to be in a defensive mode. Is that right?
True. Undiluted judgment.
Undiluted, right?
Yes.
And so before we go too far, the name that I've given you is Anesu, and the name that he had in his episode was Tsepo. So you guys are Anesu and Tsepo.
Okay.
Okay. So you have to try and remember as much as you can that his name is Tsepo and not call out his real name.
All right.
Now, from your breakup with Tsepo, right?
Yes.
I need you to tell me what your lessons were. What did you learn from your relationship and breakup with him? It can be one lesson. It can be more than one lesson.
So I was really young at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I could have handled things better if I was older.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I learned that it's always good to follow your heart and just let someone know when you're not into them anymore, just to be straight up.
So for me, that sounds like the key lesson, that just be straight up, and if you're not into someone, just be honest and say it as it is.
True.
Okay, so let's get straight into the story. How did you and Tsepo meet?
All right, so it's unusual.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so he got my number, I don't know from where, and he messaged me.
Uh-huh.
And like any normal girl, I'm resistant at the beginning, and I was like, who gave you my number? You know, the usual stuff.
Yeah.
And so we started talking from then.
Uh-huh.
And he was really funny. I'm not going to lie. Really funny.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can never take away from him.
Yeah.
So I fell for him because of his humor, to be honest.
Ooh, nice.
From then, it just picked up. I didn't actually think I would actually get to the point of dating him, because looking at him, and he was very talkative. Like really, I'm normally the talkative one in the room, but he was extra when it comes to talking. He spoke his mind. He was I guess I fell for him because of how real he was,
mm-hmm.
and how he wasn't afraid to say anything that he felt.
So he was very open about his emotions to you and stuff?
Yes, he was open.
When you look back, just when you guys were starting your relationship, do you feel like you were as open as well?
I was.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's like one of the relationships. It was actually one of my very first serious relationships.
Oh, yeah?
So it was learning, and I had just finished high school.
Mm-hmm.
I was a freshman in varsity.
Mm-hmm.
So it seemed great. I
Yeah.
was really open to him. I was open to him the beginning of I was open to him to the extent that we would even talk about, like the silly things. We'd comment on another girl, say she's hot. We
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
Yeah, we had that kind of
So
relationship.
you guys are very transparent. You didn't feel jealous if he said, "Oh, that girl's bum is nice," or "She's got great breasts," and he wouldn't
Not
feel
at all.
jealous if you said, "Oh, that guy's got a really good chest and really nice arms."
Not much. Maybe in his heart, but he didn't show it. He seemed okay with it.
Okay, so you guys sound like you got off to a really really good start. As in,
Very,
he came out of nowhere. This was one of your first serious relationships with a guy who's open and transparent. So everything was going well, isn't it?
very well.
Okay. What would you say you liked about him the most? I know you said you liked the fact that he was open and that he was funny. Were there other things that you liked about him?
I did. He had his own strange way of showing that he cared,
Mm-hmm.
but I got to understand him. He was a really caring person. He was a sweet person. He really cared about me. That was one thing that really he was honest.
Yeah.
Like, even because of the relationship, I explained that we had like you said, we had a transparent relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and I had never had that from anyone. Someone who's so honest with me
Mm-hmm.
and tell me some things that you would think are embarrassing to tell your girlfriend. And in the end, I was totally cool with him saying things.
Yeah.
I liked how unpredictable he was. It was good at times, but it was bad at times. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Now, now, I'm just going to tap into that a little bit more. So you say that you were, really amazed at how open and transparent that he was with stuff. So in your previous relationships, didn't you have the same amount of transparency and openness?
I would let me take it back to my relationship just after him.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it was basically lying about who I was. You
Mm-hmm.
understand?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I this was a jealous guy, like really jealous. You can't even be free to the extent. I know this is gonna be funny. You can't even fart in front of the guy. I was that uncomfortable around him.
Wow.
It
Okay.
was like I couldn't say much
Yeah.
because it was like walking on eggshells. You never knew what was going to piss him off next.
So this sounds like a good foundation with Tsepo. How long were you guys happy for before you guys started having trouble? Because it feels like something changed somewhere. So how long were you guys happy for?
Well, we dated for 8 months, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say the it was great for 7 months.
Mm-hmm.
The last month we were together was the hardest,
Oh yeah.
and it reflected a lot on me. Like, it gave me reasons of why I should not be in the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It showed, I, I guess, at when someone gets into the relationship and it's almost a year, that's when you start really knowing someone.
Yeah. Because true colors start coming out, isn't it?
Exactly. I was now getting in touch with the bad side that I didn't know.
Okay. So maybe let's go straight into that. What are some of the red flags that you noticed that started changing things after 7 months?
All right. So what happened is, like I said, I was a freshman
Mm-hmm.
in varsity. It obviously makes your parents proud, or the first bad thing that happened was he has a son and a
Mm-hmm.
daughter.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't open to me about it.
Okay.
So I get to his house and there's a little boy, and
Mm-hmm.
he tells me that this is my brother's son.
Mm-hmm.
And he never told me that it was his son. I don't remember how I got to find out.
Yeah.
And he finally told me that it's his son. And I was like, why would you lie about it? Why wouldn't you just be? Did you think I wasn't going to find out, or what?
I mean, that's a really big thing not to be open about, especially in a relationship that felt like it
Very
was it
much.
was going very well and very nice, and it might have had the prospect of you guys getting married.
Exactly. So I felt like if he can lie about something so serious, what else could he be hiding?
How did you really feel when you discovered that he had a son?
I felt betrayed
Mm.
because since everything was going so well, and we were open to each other, I expected a little bit respect of him being open to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. He judged that I would run away. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
I would have I would have respected him more if he was truthful.
Yeah. So this was after discovery of the first child.
That was the discovery of the first child,
So how did you discover about the second one?
and then the second one, I guess, and it took time. He told me later on
Okay.
about the second child.
When we
Okay,
say
so we talked.
it took time, you guys were already 7 months in, and you broke up after 8 months. How much time was there between you finding out about the first one and then the second one?
Okay, let's say I found out about the first one, and then maybe I didn't find out about the first one close to the 8 months. It was like 4 months in,
Okay, gotcha.
and then I guess it took him 2 months or more. I mean, 2 months to actually tell me that he has a daughter as well.
And then at this point, were you thinking, geez, how many other kids are going to pop out of the woodworks?
Exactly. And then the worst thing happened. What
Oh,
made this is close to the 7 months. So me thinking he's got two kids.
yeah.
Like I said, I was a freshman in varsity,
Mm-hmm.
and I got pregnant.
Oh.
Yes. So I got pregnant by him,
Mm-hmm.
and I was scared, obviously, because this is like a time where my mom was like, "Oh, finally, my little girl." I'm the last born in my family. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
she was like, "My little girl is finally in varsity." You know, parents feel like things are going the right way if you just do the right things.
Yeah.
So I was really scared that I'm pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and the first thing that came to my mind was to abort,
Yeah.
because mainly because I was scared of my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him I wanted to abort. And normally, women, we have a different way of communicating. We don't mean the things we say. I thought maybe he was going to say no, but he didn't even
Mm-hmm.
think twice about me aborting. He didn't think twice. He didn't try to talk me out of it. He just seemed cool with it. And I was confused.
Oh.
I didn't know if I wanted to have the baby or not. He supported the fact that I wanted to abort. That's where I say I expected him maybe to say, no, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
just that assurance that everything's going to be okay. You don't
Yeah.
need to remove the baby because I love you that much.
Gotcha.
But him saying that I could abort the baby just made me sad.
I
It really
see.
broke my heart.
Because, well, was that because you felt, okay, so if I go ahead with this, he's not going to support me because he didn't want the baby in the first place?
Exactly. And I was thinking, and he's got two kids already. What are
Yeah.
my parents going to say about that?
So you pretty much had a lot going through your mind at that time.
I did. I
Mm.
did.
Okay. Was he generally supportive of you during this period? I mean, it feels like a lot of the conversations were happening in your own mind.
It was actually a 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
He did give me reason to doubt. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
He gave me a lot of reason to doubt.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't really all supportive. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Like um like on one incident when I found out I was pregnant and we had talked about the abortion and all, my cousin called me to Gweru. So I went there,
Mm-hmm.
and the next thing he said to me, he's like, I don't believe you went to Gweru to see your brother. And I'm like, I'm pregnant. I don't even know what I'm going to do with my life. And the next thing you want to accuse me of cheating.
Yeah.
So I was like, that doesn't make sense. And I was emotional at that time. You know how it is when you're pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
So I got so angry, and I was like, you don't even trust. I'm pregnant, and the first thing that you think about is I'm cheating on you. It
Mm-hmm.
really hurt me. He stressed me a lot.
Did you have a reason to think that maybe you were cheating on him?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
So earlier on, you mentioned that there were a number of things that made you doubt, whether this is going to work and whether you should go ahead with him. And this is the first thing you mentioned, that when you went over to Gweru, he asked you the question, did you really go to your brother?
Exactly.
Yeah. What other things did he do or mention that made you doubt that he wanted you or the baby?
He was very open about the fact that he doesn't want to have, you can tell if somebody doesn't want to have another kid.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he had pressure already
Mm-hmm.
by the two kids
Mm-hmm.
and me having another baby on the way. And I'm like, what didn't make it work with these baby mamas? Two of them, to make matters worse.
Yeah.
That's going to make it work with me.
Mm-hmm.
So that gave me more reason to doubt him. The fact that he had two kids and he didn't succeed in both relationships.
Yeah.
And I would just ask myself, what makes myself so special that he would finally be held down and be a man?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So yes, you're pregnant, and then you go over to Gweru. He asks you whether you really went to Gweru and stuff. And then what happened next in your guys' journey?
These were like our last days.
Mhm.
So after getting pregnant, I did try to abort,
Oh.
but nothing came. Like, when you abort, you expect the miscarriage to happen,
Yeah.
but nothing happened. So I was like, why am I not, like, why is the child not coming out? Or I don't know how to explain that.
Yeah.
And nothing happened. So I found out later that I actually had complications.
Mm-hmm.
So we went for a scan. This is like after the second time I had terrible pain.
Yeah.
And he was there for me when we went through the whole process when I was sick.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to the doctor and he did a scan on me and he told me that I had an ectopic pregnancy and one of my tubes had burst.
Ooh.
So I had to get an emergency
Surgery.
Yeah, I had to get an emergency surgery.
Yeah.
And I hadn't told my parents that I was pregnant. So they found out then.
How was that for you?
It was hectic. Like, I could see my dad. He looked very betrayed. He was so angry.
Yeah.
Because they both didn't see it coming. And to hear that your daughter's pregnant and she could die because of the complications,
Mm-hmm.
it's like they want to be there for me and at the same time they're angry at me.
Yeah. Did they obviously ask who the father is?
They did. He was there actually.
Oh, he was there?
Yeah, he was there. So they actually got to meet him.
For the first time at the hospital?
For the first time at the hospital.
How did that go down?
My family is not really, it's not dramatic. They're not dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
So they were just concerned about me.
Mm-hmm.
They just wanted me to get better, go through the surgery and move on.
Mm-hmm.
There was no drama at all.
Okay. So how did the surgery go?
It went well, but they had to remove one of my fallopian tubes.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things that broke my heart as well.
Yeah.
That it could have an effect on my fertility in the future. At that time, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I just felt really messed up. And I had mixed emotions of whether I want to be with him or not. I remember I cried a lot in the hospital, but I don't know if I was crying because I cried for many things. I cried because I had lost the baby. I cried because I had lost my tube.
Mm-hmm.
Because the guy that I wanted to be with didn't turn out to be the guy that I thought he was.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of emotions at once. It was too much for me.
So I need to take it back a little bit. So you're crying about all this stuff because you don't know whether the guy you're with is the guy who you thought he was. Yeah?
Yes.
But the only thing so far that you've pointed out is the fact that he just asked you whether you were cheating. It almost doesn't sound like there were a lot of things for you that you didn't like about him unless you haven't told them to me.
Well, let me tell you, this is the
Mm-hmm.
part you hear it.
Okay.
So he had a lack of seriousness when
Mm-hmm.
it came to life,
Mm-hmm.
considering that he was much older than I was.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't go to work, he didn't have a job,
Mm-hmm.
and like if he got his hands on money, the first thing he did was to spend it lavishly. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's gonna get more the very next day, and the next day he's trying to put pieces together to put food on the table again.
Yeah.
But you had money yesterday, and I was like, I don't want to go through that.
So he was bad with money, pretty much.
He was bad with money. I didn't feel secure
Mm-hmm.
because when you get into a relationship, what you want, you obviously want a great future for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't see that. I don't know if it was the crowd that he was with,
Mm-hmm.
or but his life was basically leaving for the day
Okay.
and not thinking about tomorrow, and that scared me a lot.
Yeah, and that's a big thing for anybody to be scared of because you want to feel secure emotionally and financially,
True,
when you're with someone.
true,
So that's very understandable.
true.
Are there any other things that you didn't like that you thought of as you were crying in hospital?
And also, like I said about the cheating, he had
Mm-hmm.
never actually caught me cheating on him
Yeah.
until we I was actually not into him anymore.
Oh, okay.
So he always had that accusation at some point, like things are going well, things are going well. Then he
Mm-hmm.
would accuse you, and you trying to tell him, no, it's not like that. Like at one point, my sister called, and I was at his house,
Mm-hmm.
and so my sister's name is Tendai.
Mm-hmm.
Then he just saw Tendai on the call, and in his mind, he quickly jumped into conclusion that I guess this is a guy,
Oh yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
and he took my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where he put it. I spent like hours, and I'm like, please give me my phone back. And he wouldn't,
Mm-hmm.
until the next day when I went there and I told him, you know what, I'm cutting everything off. Can I please just get my phone? Why are you acting like a drama queen? Like
Yeah.
he was
Yeah.
so dramatic. He blew things out of proportion. Like
Like a drama queen, huh?
it was just too much drama for me, and
Yeah.
I didn't want to go through that.
So apart from him not working and apart from him not really supporting the idea of you keeping a baby and him supporting you getting rid of it, I can see why you're starting to get shaky about him and why you'd have been crying in hospital. And at the same time, he was exhibiting some signs of insecurity
Yes.
around you, and those may have been prompted either by previous relationships or whatever it is that prompted it.
Yes.
Okay, so this is all the stuff that you're thinking about in hospital, and you're now thinking, do I really want to be with this guy? And I don't. And what was your heart telling you at that moment? Was it telling you to continue or to leave?
At first, I felt like I could continue.
Yeah.
Like when I got out of hospital, I actually saw him a couple of times
Mm-hmm.
until I don't know, when I was younger, I didn't have the guts to like just be straight up to someone and tell him, you know what, this is
Mm.
done. So I just stopped seeing him. Like I just stopped calling him back. I just stopped returning his calls. I just froze
Mm.
just like that. I didn't tell him anything.
So what made it difficult for you to be open with him?
I didn't know how he would,
Because remember
especially
you
after.
because remember you told me at the beginning that you guys were very open and honest about literally everything, to the point
True.
where you could say to each other, look, that girl looks really nice, this guy looks really nice, and you were okay with it. And then
I didn't.
suddenly,
I didn't think he could take it.
oh really?
No, I didn't think he could take it, and he proved it very much that he couldn't take it.
So you were pretty much afraid of his reaction and you were afraid that you couldn't handle seeing him hurt.
True.
Okay. So how did it eventually happen then that you guys broke up? Because
Broke up.
yeah.
It actually turned out really bad for me that I didn't tell him.
Mm-hmm.
So because I was coming out of all these emotions and all these things, and all I wanted to do was move on with my life.
Mm-hmm.
So like when you just want somebody to lean on, a shoulder and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. So I met another guy.
Okay.
Immediately after I started ignoring him and all, and I started dating this guy.
Hold up a sec. Hold on a second. So you come out of hospital, you see Tsepo a couple of times, and then you meet this guy because you needed a shoulder to lean on,
Exactly.
right?
I was vulnerable, I would say.
And then you started dating. What sort of time frame are we talking between you leaving hospital and you starting to date this guy?
It was really a short time, eh?
Mm. Like how
It
short?
was
Was it days? Was it weeks? Was it months?
probably 2 months.
2 months. Okay. So about 6 to 8
Yeah.
weeks after your operation, then you
hmm
okay. All right. What did you like about this guy anyway? That you weren't getting from Tsepo?
I didn't know this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new relationship.
Mm.
Obviously, the first thing, and considering that I was young then, what mattered then
Mm-hmm.
is different from what matters now. He was cute, and that was
Mm-hmm.
enough for me. And I
Okay.
wasn't looking for anything serious. I
Yeah.
just wanted to get my mind off things. So
Yeah.
I was like, it's all right. I'll get on with it. So I started dating this guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I hadn't told Tsepo that we're not dating anymore. I just
Okay.
kept quiet.
Jeez. So you kept quiet, hoping that it would just fizzle out.
Yes.
Okay. And how did that turn out for you?
The worst experience of my life.
What
Like,
happened?
so after we broke up, and I was dating this new guy, and Tsepo had bought me a phone.
Mm-hmm.
And Tsepo, being the dramatic guy, that was actually one of the reasons why I didn't tell him that I'm done with you, is because he was dramatic and I knew he would do something crazy to make a point that, I don't know, that we broke up, and I knew he would do something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I really felt it.
Mm-hmm.
So he bought me a phone, and so we were texting the last time, and he said, "Oh, my phone got stolen. Can you please come with your?" This is after now I had told him that I don't want to be with you anymore.
So did you tell him this over text or over the phone? How did
Over
you
the
tell him?
phone.
Over the phone. So you're on the phone, you're like, look, I don't want to be with you anymore. What was his immediate reaction?
He seemed cool with it, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew there was a fire coming up.
Okay.
Like,
You knew there was something bubbling under.
I knew there was something
Okay.
bubbling under, and he wouldn't just let it go just like
Yeah.
that. I knew he would cause drama.
Yeah.
So I was 21 at the time, hey?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm dating this new guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm excited. You know how it is. I just want to be with this new guy. I don't want to have anything to do with Sepo anymore. And he calls me out of the blue, I think a week after, not a week after, probably a few days after I told him that I don't want to be with him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I had already used, like, he that phone he bought for me. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't, especially after I had gone what I had gone through, I didn't think a phone would be a big deal for him, for me to give him back. You understand?
Oh, so he asked for the phone back?
He asked for the phone back.
Hmm. Okay.
But he didn't ask for it back in a way to say, please give me that phone back.
Mm.
He just said to me, can you please I just need to trace my phone, of which the phone that you're using is the only phone that I can use, my phone that has been stolen.
Yeah.
I could feel I felt inside that no, I know something bad is going to happen. But for some reason, I just went on with it, and I went. And as soon as I passed the phone to him, he took out my SIM card and he said, no, I'm taking the phone away.
Oh.
And now I'm thinking, in that phone, there are pictures of me and this guy and texts and
Oh.
all. And I didn't even put a password on it. Then he took that phone and he obviously saw everything. So I knew, my heart was beating fast. Like, I knew this guy is going to do something crazy. He's probably going to paste it all on. And I had pictures in there of my operation that I had taken. So it's very close.
In fact, that was going to be my next question to say, okay, when you say that there were a lot of pictures and stuff, what sort of pictures were in there that would have made your
So
heart race?
I had pictures of my operation, in
Mm-hmm.
my stitches are dropped and everything. So
Mm-hmm.
I just took a picture. I think I had actually sent some of those pictures to him to show him how it's healing and all.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me, and I had pictures with that guy, but they weren't very explicit. I don't know. It was just, I just didn't have my top on,
Mm-hmm.
nothing more.
Mm-hmm.
And he said to me immediately after he took my phone, he called me and he told me, I am posting these pictures on every platform that you
Mm-mm.
are on. I am going to post these pictures. I am going to publish you. Even the youngest kids are going to know you as the girl with the naked pictures around.
Oh, I mean, but it wouldn't be that bad because all you had were just pictures of you topless.
And the pictures that I took of my operation, and it's right close to my, you know,
Oh, okay.
exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So I said, I was really scared. I didn't know how to react.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, the only way I can forgive you. And now this is when it started. This is when I really knew that I didn't make the wrong choice, how dramatic it got then.
Mm-hmm.
And when you are in a relationship with someone, you end up knowing how that person is going to react if something goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew he wasn't going to let this go easy and he wasn't going to do anything without a fight. And he said, he said, I'll post the pictures unless you come to my house and you write a book for the 8 months that you wasted. 8 months of my life that you wasted. You must come and write that book.
Wow.
I was
And what
really,
were you supposed to put into this book?
I don't know, because I just got there and I froze. I'm like, I don't know, what do you want me to write? And he said, write what happened from the first day we started dating until the last day. You're going to be coming here for 8 months. But I guess that was just his way of wanting me to be around,
Okay.
weird enough, right?
And was it 8 months specifically because that was representative of the time that you guys were together?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And he said, you must write the 8 months that you wasted of my life.
So
And
I'm curious. What did you write on the first page then? What was your first thing roughly?
I didn't write anything
Or you
because
didn't
I
write
just
anything at
got
all?
there and I froze.
Yeah.
And I froze and I'm like, what do you want me to write? Then the first day I left and he said, you must come back the next day. So now he was very disrespectful with my time at school. He could
Mm-hmm.
just text me and I'm in a lecture and he would say, you have to be back here by 11. And I'm like, I've got a lecture at 11. How can I be back
Yeah.
just to write that story? And I'm behind with my studies. That's not going to be possible. I'm
Yeah.
not coming back there.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, the time you waste is the time that I have to go to your mom and show her the pictures.
Jeez.
Now he had changed and said he wanted to go and show my mom the pictures. And then I said to him, and then that's when I went to the police station actually.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you went to
And I
police
said,
station?
I did.
What
And I
for?
said, this guy is tormenting me.
Okay.
I tell him I don't want to be with him anymore, and he keeps telling me to come. He's blackmailing me because of
Mm.
the pictures that are in my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And we went there with the police together. They took him with me,
Mm-hmm.
and Tsepo is a very stubborn guy. Hey,
Mm.
so they took him on the first day. Then they left him.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing much they could do
Mm-hmm.
because really, what could they arrest him for? All I
Yeah.
wanted was for him to stop disturbing my peace.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it didn't move him. So he knew he wouldn't, at least it helped on the part that he wouldn't send the pictures publicly on
Okay.
social medias
Yeah.
because he had already started sending one pictures to people on my contact list.
And what sort of pictures? Were these the really sensitive ones or just general pictures?
I just no, you just sent the one that I was topless, of which it was harmless. So I
Okay.
was like, okay. So this guy actually told me. I was lucky enough the people that he sent to were loyal to me. So they
Mm.
came to me and said, there's a guy that's sending your pictures around, sending your pictures to me
Mm.
and what. But I deleted them and stuff. And I was like, don't mind him. I
Yeah.
don't want to get into it. So I
Yeah.
just left it alone.
Yeah.
And that's when I ended up and I said, if I keep on giving him the power to blackmail me.
Mm.
It's going to keep happening. Then his brother said to me, he had a cousin that he stayed with. His cousin said to me, he won't send the pictures. Just tell him, go ahead and do it, and you'll see.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, I just said, go ahead and send them.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine. I don't mind. Go ahead and send them.
Mm.
He actually did go to my mom's workplace, but he didn't show her the pictures. He just got there and told her, your daughter is a prostitute. She goes around and sleeps in hotels with men. And I was like, oh my God,
Jeez.
really? Tsepo,
This guy was limitless, wasn't he?
very much. It was now like, if I can't have you, no one will.
Yeah.
And my mom, we have a great relationship with my mom. So she told me that this guy came and this is what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, but it's not a big deal, but you should, I don't know. She said, it's not my place to say you should continue with him or not, but from what I see, I don't understand why he's coming to bad mind you behind
Yeah.
your back,
Yeah.
stuff like that. And then I just left it alone. And after I told him you can send them around, he just left me alone.
And that was it.
Yeah, he just left me alone. But weeks after, he started again. He would come to my gate. He was very dramatic. I don't want to lie. He would drive to my gate with his friends and he would start shouting my name. And this is like 12 midnight and everybody knows my name.
At midnight.
Everyone. Yes, at midnight. Just to, not to do anything, but just to piss me off.
Yeah.
And I would actually go to, and I went to him one Sunday. I remember I was actually in my church uniform and I said, will you please stop coming to my house and shouting my name?
Mm.
Because now people are asking, who's this guy coming and shouting your name?
Yeah.
I hear someone shouting your name in the middle of the night almost every day. He did it like 3 times until I went there and I told him, I don't like it. Don't do that. And he said right to my face, I didn't come to your neighborhood. You know?
I mean, but obviously you knew it was him because you knew what the sound of his voice was like, isn't it?
Yeah, I did know it was him.
Yeah.
Because after I told him, he stopped.
And then was that it after that point?
That was it. We broke up and that was it. And
Jesus.
he left. I never saw him again and I never looked for him.
So how long has it been that you guys have been out of touch?
Well, actually, being the cool person that he is and the cool person that I am, I forgave him very much because that's the only thing I could do.
So I got a question. What are you forgiving him for when you're the one who broke up with him?
I forgave him for the fact that I felt very sad that I felt like the fallopian tube burst because I aborted the child and he gave me the go ahead. So I always used to say to him, you owe me that.
Okay, I see. So you're basically saying, I forgive you for not supporting me when I needed your support the most with this baby.
The most, yes. And though it costed me.
Yeah, I forgive you.
Yeah, I forgive you.
Okay, so you forgave him and then what, did you guys become friends again?
Yeah, we actually became really cool friends. No feelings, no what.
How is that even possible that you'd have no feelings once you guys had one such great chemistry?
It's a very long time ago that I dated him. And I was younger then. I was in a different space of mind. It's like, let's say for you, the girls that you liked at 21 are not the things that you looked for in a girl at 21 are not the same things that you look for a woman.
Absolutely. They're completely different now.
Exactly. So I feel like it was a different time. I had different expectations then. And things have changed and I have changed and I don't feel for him that way. But he's a very cool friend. He's funny.
Do you think he still has emotions and feelings for you?
I don't think so.
No?
Because I don't.
No. I like how you dropped that. And you definitely have no emotions, no feeling whatsoever.
Not at all. Not at all.
And that's because you've moved on. You really genuinely have moved on.
I've really moved on, and I'm a different person now, like I said.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Well, I guess just as I'm wrapping it up, one of the important lessons that came out here is that you need to be very truthful when you're no longer into someone. And just like your story tells, it looks like when you had the surgery, that's when your whole heart changed and that's when you moved on.
Yeah.
But the only difficulty that you had wasn't being open and honest enough to tell them right there and then that, look, this is not working for me.
True.
And it's because I feel A, B, C, D, and move on.
Yeah.
So for anybody listening to this particular episode of the Feeling Station, once again, the most important lesson that came out is be truthful when you're no longer in love with someone, because what that does is that it enables them to move on with confidence that, okay, this is not happening anymore. And perhaps it avoids some of the crazy behavior that Seppo exhibited.
Exactly.
Towards the end.
I don't blame him completely for everything. I do blame myself as well. It takes two for something to break. It's like two imperfect people together. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Anisu, for making time to tell us your story. And for those who are listening to this podcast, we look forward to catching you in the next episode. And I hope you have a super good week. Remember to stay safe and catch you next week.
Tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're feeling. Now that it's over. Let me talk about my feelings. Let me talk about my feelings, yeah. Kujiziro amai. Love is a fire.
Kujiziro amai.